Welcome back, viewers at home. I'm joined right now by Nadia Adam, a dedicated activist who joins us to discuss the recent arrival of 160 Palestinian refugees in South Africa. After a lengthy delay on the tarmac due to immigration issues, these individuals, including families and vulnerable groups, were finally permitted to enter the country. And tonight she joins us to just share her insight on this complex situation. Nadia, assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah so much for joining us tonight.
Walaikum salam. Thanks for having me.
Now, starting off our conversation, what do we actually know about the passengers who were on the flight?
Many of them they all are Palestinians. There are lots of conflicting stories going around from people saying that they're not. You've seen the information making the rounds on social media. I was just someone on the ground. As you know, I do humanitarian work, and I know a lot of the Palestinians personally, the ones that have come throughout the genocide. We have actively been involved in assisting them with their monthly needs, daily needs, etc. And I was on a call. I was on WhatsApp the entire day with local Palestinians. When I say local, the ones that had arrived in the last couple of months, all messaging me to say the updates of what's happening in the plane. There were many people that were afraid. There was a mum who messaged that her child had been in the same diapers from the day before. People were hot, they were tired, they were bothered. And all I know is that I was at the, eventually I went to the airport to go and and show support to the rest of them. And that's what actually, that's actually everything.
Hmm. And to your understanding, what could be fueling, since you were there on the ground receiving or just welcoming the 160 Palestinians at that, what could be fueling this misguided notion around the 160 refugees, Palestinian refugees?
So I didn't actually complete that question regarding the conflicting stories. Many of the people that were there waiting at the airport with us were mostly Palestinians waiting for their families to arrive.
Yeah.
They had already known that their families were going to be on that plane. For instance, they were parents of the mom of the pregnant lady that arrived. She was 8.5 months pregnant, and her parents were waiting for her. It was actually the Palestinians who were waiting for their families that actually brought. That's how we found out about the plane coming.
And just moving along, I want to find out if you can just walk us through the arrival, including the timing and emotions surrounding the arrival of the Palestinians.
It was an extremely emotional day because there were times when we were quite sure that they were not going to allow them into the country. It was around 7, just after 7, when um, some of the ladies that we were with got a message on from the plane, from the activists, that some of the people that were on the plane, saying that they're turning the plane around. They're going to get everyone back on the plane. They're going back to Kenya, and from Kenya they're going to take them back to the naval base in Israel. And so it was at that time everyone was deflated. People were really emotional, and we just asked people to carry on praying and not give up. And eventually, with the persistence and there were so many people working behind the scenes. They finally allowed the passengers to disembark. We had to wait. We were uncertain of the fact that they would actually let them into the country, and it was extremely emotional because we'd been expecting them from 9 o'clock in the morning, and this was like 9 p.m. Just like before 9 p.m. when they actually walk through those doors. And honestly, being there, there's not many there's not many times that I would ever experience such elation and such emotion. And Thursday evening was one of those evenings that I would never be able to explain that feeling to anyone, or experience something like that again.
And with that being said, just looking at the fact that, they were, not allowed to disembark as, naturally when the plane lands, then individuals now, disembark in that sense and make their way to inside to the airport to their loved ones. And seeing that that was not the case with the 160 Palestinians, considering that we all know their plight in terms of, what they're going through in their homelands and, them coming here, what it means for them. Can you take us through in terms of how exactly did, NGOs and, activists come about assisting the refugees, and what were some of the impacts of the prolonged process of allowing these 160 Palestinians to disembark?
So there were many people working behind the scenes, as I mentioned. Too many to mention. I know Nigel was on the plane with from like 2 p.m. He was on the plane and he refused to get off. And I had seen like Zara Baum and Gift of the Givers and like all of these people sitting and having discussions behind the scenes. Um, and when those people finally got off that plane, I mean, I can't explain it. We at one stage we thought that they're not going to. I really thought, would our government actually allow these people not to disembark? It actually seemed so possible that they were not going to be allowed. And when they finally were allowed, everyone was excited. Yes, they got off the plane. They walked through. I don't know if you guys saw the footage. Many of them had paper bags, carrying paper bags because the Israelis wouldn't allow them to leave with bags or anything. They literally just got on the plane with paper bags.
Yeah, and I think this comes to show that, the efforts of Israelis to dehumanize Palestinians it's something that they pride themselves with, to a point that something like a bag, we oftenly would be like, but what does a bag have to do with anything? Like, how does it change anything in that matter? But just moving along, I want to find out from you in terms of what's next for the 160 Palestinians moving forward, in terms of them registering for asylum, amongst other aspects.
Okay, so we don't have all 160. Some of them were rerouted. Some of them had their paperwork apparently in check, and they were then moved on to Australia or Malaysia. We received, I think, just under 120. And they actually, our community has been amazing. Many of them are in temporary housing from Thursday night. And within the next few days will be moved to accommodation around undisclosed addresses around Johannesburg. Um, the community has been absolutely amazing. We barely ask, and the needs are being taken care of. Um, it's been absolutely incredible being part of this, welcoming our very important guests into the country, and we so privileged and honored to have them.
Certainly. And how can South African government and international community truly better support refugees in similar situations?
I think going forward, I mean, our country has been amazing with all of this, but with regards to Palestinians, I think they need to be given priority. It's a very difficult situation. Many people feel that they shouldn't be leaving Gaza, but if you ask me, or if you ask any other person, would you stay when there was only barren land, when you did not have water, when you did not have sanitation, when you didn't have basic human dignity? Would you stay? Would you be able to raise your kids there? Of the passengers on the flight, when you see all the people that came, we probably had about a fraction of ladies, men, maybe like 20 something ladies, maybe under 20 men, and majority of the passengers were all children. I mean, I have lists of all the clothing sizes, etc. For arranging all of that. We mostly have kids, and to think that anyone would expect them to stay in a place like that, I honestly wouldn't. I wouldn't personally do it, and so I think our government needs to have better plans in place to make sure that they kept safe, that we allow them to enter the country with dignity, and make sure that every all their needs are taken care of, and we as a community can try and assist where we can.
Mm. Now, I know, Nadia, you mentioned that there's so many organizations and activists who came together in really making sure that the welcoming of the Palestinians is that of, it's filled with warmth, it's very jovial considering what they had, the days that they had to live through, and the nights and the conditions, just generally speaking. I want to find out from you in terms of now that the fact that they are now in South Africa, Alhamdulillah, and as you said, they're in temporary housing. Can I just find out from you if are there any local organizations or resources available to help integrate the refugees into South African society, and how we can also contribute if there is a platform for the larger public to contribute to?
So their basic needs are being taken care of at the moment, and we have the resources for that, housing, etc. Going forward, we will need to assist them with education, jobs. The kids are going to need intensive therapy, even the parents as well. I had a mom contact me today to say her son is struggling to talk. Um, it's been amazing that we have full medical teams on hand that have been doing voluntary work, seeing the families voluntarily, dentists, opticians. We've been even been dispensing medication. I just dropped off medication to a 80-year old renal patient 2 days ago. One of the doctors saw to him. So everything's been taken care of, but I think going forward, we will need more resources with regards to them getting jobs, sorting out the children's schooling, um, you know, needs going forward. That's the most important, because for now everything seems to be okay.
Mm. And with that, what message do you hope this story would convey to the world about the plight of, the Palestinian refugees?
I spoke to one of the dads 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
They were on this flight, and I spoke to him, and he said, um, they left everything behind. They left their homes, they left their businesses, they left their belongings, they left every single thing, they left their families, and they came across not knowing where they were going to go. And he says it's been they can't believe that people who don't even know them have rushed to their assistance and have been there to support them, and they're so grateful. And if just I mean, we've been watching this for the last 2 years. One of the moms mentioned, when I asked her, "Did you sleep okay?" She said, "Do you know, whatever you guys saw on social media and whatever you saw in the news on your phones, in reality, it was much worse." And when she said that to me, I couldn't understand. Like, there were days where I couldn't look at my phone. Most of us would say there were days where we just shut off. We could not look off at our phones anymore because it became too much. But we actually have people now in our midst that have experienced this genocide, that have experienced, these children have seen people lose their lives. They've seen people without limbs. We'll never understand what they've experienced. But as South Africans, um, personally, I mean, I've told them that we are with you, we support you, we will never let you down. And I know I share the sentiments of many South Africans. Um, Nelson Mandela said, "No one is free until Palestine is free," and um, I firmly believe that. And yeah, if there was any place that they could come to, this is the place, because they will definitely be loved and taken care of. Yeah.
Mm. And Nadia, any closing thoughts around like our conversation in terms of, looking into the, 120 some number of Palestinians who have, Alhamdulillah, made it to the South African shores, and just looking at the ongoing genocide, which, we've seen that Israeli is not willing to see their wrong, is not, even the allies of Israelis are not willing to come to the right side of history in terms of acknowledging it for what it is and allowing peace to reign on Palestine.
I would just say that, you know, even though they, personally, I feel that whatever Israel did to the Palestinians in the genocide, they tried to rid rid them, and they tried to get rid of them, and uh, um, I mean, they murdered them literally. And I think this is just another ploy of Israel trying to get rid of Palestinians. But but I just hope that um, we can just make sure that we just support them and people should not forget, though, that people in Gaza still need our assistance. They still need us to create awareness, because they want us to believe that everything's okay and everything's over, but we still need to make sure that we do not, like, there's winter coming along in Gaza. Their tents have been rained on. They still need our assistance. So people, we as a community just need to make sure that we don't forget the plight of the Palestinians, because Israel says that they've called a ceasefire and things are okay. We still need to make sure that we keep all eyes on Gaza all the time.
And you know, Nadia, just something that really just came to my mind, the fact that moving forward, it will all be around integrating, you know, our fellow Palestinian brothers and sisters into, you know, South Africa and just living in South Africa. And I think this is something I want to ask, so that us as a larger public, we become more mindful about it, in terms of, in your experience, having had, you know, engaged with, you know, our Palestinian brothers and sisters, is there a sense of advice that you can share with us, in terms of when we come across maybe a Palestinian mom or sister or brother, that we can get lost with, you know, ourselves, in terms of how was everything, and, you know, all these very bombarding conversations and questions that might come across in that sense. What advice would you share with us, in terms of, if we were to see, you know, our fellow Palestinian brothers and sisters, what's the best way of really engaging with them in ways that doesn't, you know, trigger them, if I can say
Offend.
so, or offend them in that sense?
You know, they such amazing people that when you meet them, even the people that got off the plane on Thursday night, um, if it was us as South Africans and we were on a plane for 12 hours and we didn't have food and we didn't have a toilet and we didn't have water, we would get off that plane, and you know how everyone's mood would be. Like, we would not be happy, and everyone would know that we weren't happy. But every person that got off their plane had a smile on their face. um they were showing us videos of their homes and of their families, and uh, they look so happy and so appreciative. Um, you've honestly never met more wonderful humans in your life, and so when you meet them, I mean, I don't think we should actually be discussing the war. Like, when I meet my families, I just ask them, are you guys okay? Like, did you sleep well? I don't want to ask them about the war. I don't think they want to think about it. For now, the families that are here also, I told them, I mean, I tell them, I said, don't worry about anything. Don't worry about work yet. Don't worry about your papers yet. Don't worry about anything. Just take a rest. Just enjoy this time with your family. Like, don't do anything. Just, it's time for you to just breathe and take a break. And so that's what we've been doing. And hopefully, like, going forward within the next few weeks, we will start sorting out all their needs and everything with regards to their children, with jobs, etc. So for now, I think when you meet the Palestinians, it will never be difficult to speak to them. They just make everything seem okay.
Nadia, Jazakallah so much for truly taking out the time and, you know, enlightening us in terms of, you know, what was the atmosphere like at the airport, and just helping us understand, you know, in terms of how we can continue playing a better role in terms of supporting our fellow brothers and sisters. Jazakallah so much for that.
Can I just end off with something
Yeah.
there? Many people are asking how they can assist and what they can do. For now, yeah, there are many organizations. People will need help going forward, and please. we just ask everyone to open their hearts, give towards the necessary organizations that are doing work. It will be a long-term thing, and we'd really like to make sure that we can take care of them going forward.
Inshallah, inshallah. But once again, Jazakallah so much, Nadia, for joining us.
Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Viewers at home, that was Nadia Adam, an activist who was, giving us insight in terms of what transpired at the airport. I mean, we've seen it on social media and we've heard the different narratives around, the arrival of our fellow brothers and sisters who are coming from Palestine. And alhamdulillah, we can now say that we got clarity, and inshallah through the coming days we'll continue to conversate around all things Palestine at that. But viewers at home, for now let's head over to an ad break. We'll see you upon our return.